And welcome to the Hot Seat of College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, as I wanted to kind of do a before spring, way too early 12-team playoff bracket for the 2026 season of college football. Let's talk about it. Alright, so before we get into this video, you guys all know the drill. Please hit the subscribe button. We are at 260 true, trying to get to 300 before the summer. So we are 28 away. If you want to be one of the 28 people to help us get there, that would be amazing. I have also just dropped my early preview for Ohio State versus Indiana. We're going to be doing an early preview for every single big matchup in college football this season. We're going to do a couple more now. I think I want to save them for the summer when there's not a lot of stuff to talk about. So I think I'll save them. So if you want to see more of the early previews, let me know which matchup you want to see. I will remember it. I will put your comment on the next video when we do it, and then we'll review that game. But today I wanted to go over my way to early 12-team playoff bracket. We'll go over the teams that just missed it. We'll go over the bracket. We'll go over their records. And then maybe I'll even do my prediction for how this bracket would go out. So starting off with the teams that just missed it. So the teams here are six teams that I thought could make it, or 7 teams that I thought could make it that, they just missed it. So first is Penn State. Penn State I had going 9-3. I have them having an upset loss at home against Minnesota or on the road at Washington, which knocks them out of the playoff. Michigan at 8-4 just missed the playoff. They were 2 games away. If they beat Ohio State at the end of the year, maybe they get in. In the SEC, I have Oklahoma being one of the first teams out at 9-3. Ole Miss being one of the first teams out at 9-3. Alabama being one of the first teams out at 9-3. I have Cal losing in the ACC championship. They were 1 game away from making the playoff. In the Big 12, I have BYU at 9-3, just missing it. And then I have Oklahoma State at 10-3, also just making it. So those are the teams that just missed the playoff. Now let's talk about my bracket. And I'll tell you the teams, then I'll show you the graphic, and then I'll go my prediction for it. So starting off with my group of 5 representative. Also, I just want to say I've been working with the lighting. I just ordered a foul or loud fast video light that's going to go here. We're going to have the neon sign, so we're going to fix this lighting. We have the Christmas tree. We're going to have the neon sign, then we're going to have our lighting. The lighting's going to look good, chat. Or not chat, what you know what I mean. It's going to start looking good. Anyway, my group of 5 representative team is UNLV. They have been 1 game away in 24 when they lost to Boise State in the Big 12 championship. This year they were pretty close. Remember, they brought in Alex Orji. He didn't work out. They got their quarterback. They were pretty good, and they were one of the group of 5. I think Boise State won the Mountain West again. I think it might have been over UNLV, but UNLV close this time with their quarterback. You see how their coach Mullen. If you're a Florida fan, you know who I'm talking. I think it's Dan Mullen, how he was talking about his quarterback. And I heard that and I said, you know what? Maybe Boise, maybe Tulane, maybe James Madison. But I think this year is UNLV's year. So I have them making as a 12 seed. At the 11 seed, and I have them as the only, so we've had a 3-loss team in the playoff. We haven't had a 9. We've had 10-3. Clemson won the Big 12 or the ACC. I have our first ever 9-3 team in the playoff, and that is the Trojans of Southern California. I got USC. So I got USC going 9-3. Their losses, I would say, probably the usual: Oregon, Ohio State, at Indiana. Maybe they can get a win at home against Ohio State. At Penn State, they'll have to win. UCLA at the end of the year. I think UCLA is going to be really good this year. Washington, they have to get a win against. So, tough schedule. I got him in at 9-3. And I think it's a little bit of controversial because they're 9-3 compared to Oklahoma's 9-3. Oklahoma has better wins, Ole Miss, at Missouri, at Florida, South Carolina. But I think the Big Ten is better. And we've seen A&M and USC play, and USC won. So I give the edge to USC. Ole Miss, they have 3 losses really late. And then Alabama doesn't really have it. Well, they have some good wins. Honestly, all the SEC teams have better wins. But I just think that USC, even though they don't have the best wins, their loss I think will be a lot better. And maybe they even go 10-2 and beat Ohio State. But either way, I got USC in at the 11 seed. At the 10 seed, I have LSU going 10-2. Honestly, you can make an argument that it could be Oklahoma at 10-2, but just for now to make things interesting, I do have LSU, and I have them losing on the road at Ole Miss, and then losing on the road at Tennessee. I have them beating Texas, beating Bama, beating A&M, beating Clemson, and I just think at Ole Miss they're gonna come together and they're gonna win, and then I think you're gonna beat Bama. I think you're going to maybe beat Texas and split at Tennessee. So I think you'll split Texas at Tennessee. Maybe you beat Tennessee, but you lose to Texas. Either way, I got them at 10-2. Lane Kiffin's first year on the road at the 10 seed. At the 9 seed, I have the champion of the Big 12. That is Texas Tech. And I think Texas Tech bringing in Brendan Sorsby will be pretty good. I'm not super high on Brendan Sorsby. People think Brendan Sorsby is going to be like the number 1 overall pick. I'm be honest, I'm not one of them. I don't see it. I'm going to take my headphones off. I'm not even using them right now. I don't know. I'm not a big Brendan Sorsby guy, and he went to Cincy, which is supposed to be a team we root for. But yeah, I'm not a huge Brendan Sorsby guy. I think he's fine. His team went 7-5 last year, and they were 7-1. I had him making the playoff at one point last year. And against Iowa State, or actually, no, they beat Iowa. Did they beat Iowa State? I think they did beat Iowa State. But against some other teams, I don't know. I want to see more from Brendan Sorsby. And also, Texas Tech had an amazing roster last year. Even their quarterback was pretty good. They had 3 monsters with Ben Roberts, Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey. I mean, they had monsters on the defense, and they put up 0 points against Oregon. So I don't know. I need to see what you would think that Texas Tech is okay. Texas Tech, they're the big boy on the block that compete with the big boys, but then they put up 0 points against Oregon, and James Madison put up 31. James Madison put 31 points on the board. Texas Tech put 0. Let that sink in. You know what? Yeah, just okay. I don't know what made me laugh. I don't know. Honestly, I kind of want to put Oklahoma State because I like their coach. The money's great. I don't know. If you're a Texas Tech fan, and I've got a lot of crap for saying Texas Tech is not going to be that great, but I have them winning the Big 12. Okay, I have them winning the Big 12. So I got Texas Tech in, even though they put up 0 points last year. So okay, now at the 8 seed. And another team from Texas, and that is Texas A&M. And this team will be hosting Texas Tech. So we got an all-Texas matchup. And between these two Texas teams, they put up a combined 3 points in the playoff last year. 3 points, 1 field goal between both teams. 1 field goal in the playoff last year. And Texas didn't even make. So I guess for the entire state of Texas, 3 points. 3 points. Good job, guys. Clap it up for the state of Texas. Either way, I got A&M going 10-2. If I bring up A&M's schedule, or actually, no, I got A&M at 9-3 too. I got A&M at 9-3. So A&M also is a 9-3. Actually, no, I got them 10-2. At LSU and Texas, I'll have them beating Alabama. Yeah, some of the stuff I didn't really think, A&M has 3 losses, and they shouldn't be hosting a playoff game. I mean, you could say, I guess A&M's the 10 seed, LSU's the 8 seed, Texas Tech is the 9 or 8 seed. Either way, let's just say A&M's 10-2. Let's just say they lose to Texas, lose to LSU, but they beat Bama. And I like them at the 8 seed. I like Marcel Reed. I love their coach. And I think they're bringing a lot. Also bringing in Isaiah Horton. You're in your last year, Mario Craver. Exciting time for A&M as they went from 8-4 to making it to the playoff last year. I think they'll definitely be back. At the 7 seed, I got the reigning champs, the Indiana Hoosiers, at 10-2. I have them 10-2. A loss at Ohio State. And if you have watched my Ohio State Indiana early preview, go watch it. I'm going to be honest. I think that's my best video on this channel. I got real into my hate for Indiana. I got real into there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of backlash in the comments. Good, I like it. IU fans are kind of obnoxious. But yeah, I got Indiana losing to Ohio State, and then I think they're going to beat USC at home and then traveling on the road at Washington. I think they will I think they'll knock themselves out. And I think they'll split Ohio State, Michigan, and I think they'll split USC, Washington to end up with a record of 10-2. But reigning champs, they do host a playoff game. They will be hosting the LSU Tigers at the 6th seed, who will be hosting USC. Well, we got a rematch of the regular season and a West Coast rivalry, as I have the Oregon Ducks at the 6th seed. And for a team that has been so high on everybody's list about winning the national title, I think they go 11-1 in the regular season, and I think they go 11-2 losing in the Big Ten Championship to, I'll save it. I think they go 11-2. A little bit of a disappointing season. I think it's a great year for Oregon, but just like we saw with Penn State and Clemson and LSU last year, just because it's your championship year like Ohio State and Michigan and Indiana does not mean you're just going to win it. Does not mean that. It's not always how it works. Doesn't always turn out that way. And everyone said, Penn State has to win the Natty because Michigan and Ohio State did it with their senior roster. And just because Penn State brought it back, they thought they were going to be great. They went 7-6 last year, 6-6 in the regular season. So I got Oregon. A little bit disappointing, but they're going to be hosting USC again. They would have had gone on the road at the Coliseum to play USC, now hosting them in Autzen, an actual home playoff game in Autzen, not some stupid James Madison bull crap, as I got them at 6. At 5, I got the runner-up in the SEC Championship. I got the Georgia Bulldogs at a record of 12-1. They are basically they have the best seed in the playoff because they played 13 games. So they have a lot of experience. They're a senior team, and they're going to be playing UNLV. So they basically get a bye and a warm-up, which is something that you saw what happened to all the bye teams. They are 1-7 in the past 2 years, and Georgia basically gets a bye. They get to sit on a loss. They get to dwell about it, be angry about it, come back, basically get a bye week and a warm-up round against UNLV to get all the rust off as they head into the quarterfinals. So if I'm a Georgia fan, even though I'm at the 5 seed, I don't get an actual bye. Honestly, I don't know if I even want a bye. So those are the first round. We got UNLV at Georgia, Texas Tech at A&M, USC at Oregon, and then LSU at Indiana. So who are the bye teams? So the winner of UNLV Georgia will play the 4 seed, and that will be my SEC champions. That is the Texas Longhorns, as they had just beaten Georgia. They will now play Georgia 2 years in a row. As we know, Georgia will beat UNLV. They have the chance of playing Georgia 2 weeks in a row. Now back in our quarterfinals, and now with the SEC championship is now in Georgia. The winner of the champion of the SEC always plays in the Sugar Bowl. This one will be in Louisiana, as they will play Georgia. The 3 seed who plays the winner of USC Oregon is the champions of the ACC. That is Miami. They were the runner-ups in last year's national championship. They were the 10 seed. Now the 3 seed at 12-1. Their only loss to Notre Dame in the regular season. They beat Cal in the ACC championship with Darian Mensah, Mark Fletcher, and Malachi Toney. If you want to see my top 10, actually the top 25 of my top 10 players next year in college football, it's on the channel. Go watch it because I have a lot of Miami players very high on that list. The winner of Indiana LSU will play 12-0 second seed independent champion Notre Dame, as I think they go undefeated. Obviously, now they're going to get a double bye week now without playing in conference championship and getting a bye. They will basically have a month off of football, which for a team like Indiana, who is lost to Notre Dame, if they could play Indiana again, that would be spectacular. The battle for Indiana, this game would be the Orange Bowl. And the reason why Miami would not get the Orange Bowl, the same reason why they didn't get the Orange Bowl last year. They don't want even though the national title was a home game for them, they don't want Miami to get a home side. So Texas would be in the Sugar Bowl. Miami would play in the Cotton Bowl once again. Notre Dame would play in the Orange Bowl, which I'll have to see where the neutral sites are, but if they are similar to what they were last year, I got Notre Dame at 2. And at 1, I have 13-0 Big Ten champions, the Ohio State, playing in the Rose Bowl. Once again, we've won, I think, 5 Rose Bowls in a row, 4 or 5. We've been great in the Rose Bowl. Last time we beat the snot out of Oregon, and we get to play the winner of the Texas battle between Texas A&M and Texas Tech. So, I'll bring it up right now. Actually, here, hold up. Let me, can I switch over? Here we go. Actually, let me take this down. Let me scroll this down. So this is my college football playoff bracket. Actually, let me just move this John up here. Yeah, there we go. We'll just move it up there for now. This is my national championship, or my college football playoff bracket. So we got UNLV at Georgia, Texas Tech at A&M. We have USC at Oregon. We have LSU at Indiana. And we got Notre Dame, Miami, Texas, and the Ohio State. So how do I think this bracket would play out? So starting off with this UNLV Georgia game, I would obviously take Georgia. So Georgia moves on. Texas Tech at A&M. I would definitely, I'm thinking Texas A&M, but yeah, I think I'll go Texas A&M. I don't think they're going to lose 2 home playoff games in a row. So A&M moves on. USC at Oregon. Look, USC has really struggled against Oregon. I think Oregon will not be denied. Oregon moves on. And then LSU at Indiana. This is definitely the most interesting matchup. Probably the best matchup in the first round, as we have Lane Kiffin in year one with the reigning champs Indiana. And I'm going to be honest, there has been a trend in football recently where national champions, world champions, the next year they get bounced. This past year, Ohio State got bounced. The Eagles, reigning Super Bowl champs, they got bounced. Michigan, after they won their natty, they didn't even get to the playoff. They went 7-5. They kind of got bounced. Georgia kind of has missed out. They haven't won a playoff game. They got bounced against Bama in the SEC championship in 23. So I'm going to think there's going to be a road upset. I think LSU walks in and beats the reigning champions and leaves kind of the stinger for Big Ten supremacy as they move on. So Texas, Georgia. So Texas finally got the monkey off their back. They have beaten Georgia. Now Georgia will play them in Louisiana. This will be a neutral site deep in the South. And I think Georgia actually, so Georgia's not won a playoff game in 3 years. They've been bounced 2 years in a row. Do I think they're going to get bounced again? And Texas has been there, but they haven't. I don't know, actually. I don't know. Georgia, I got to go Georgia. Georgia's been beating the snot out of Texas, and I don't think Texas can beat them 2 years or 2 times in 1 year. So I got Georgia moving on to the semifinals. Ohio State versus Texas A&M. I'm picking Ohio State. That's easy. Oregon, Miami is tough because Miami went to the national championship last year, and Oregon is in their championship run. Oregon's never won a national championship in its history. It's been to 3 of them, I think, 2 or 3 of them. So if I'm going to be honest, quarterback, I want to go Darian Mensah, but Dante Moore is veteran. Miami's got such better weapons. Oregon's replacing multiple coordinators. I'm going to go Oregon just because Miami is losing a lot in the trenches. I'm going to go Oregon. Notre Dame versus LSU. The Brian Kelly Bowl. This was a game that I so badly wanted to see last year, and I wanted to see LSU go to Notre Dame in the playoff. LSU didn't even make the playoff, and neither did Notre Dame. And that was, if that happened, if Brian Kelly didn't get fired and they went to the playoffs, went on the road at Notre Dame, that would have been the most epic thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. But I got Notre Dame moving on. They do struggle with a run game, but I'm not really worried about LSU's defense. LSU's defense wasn't good when it was supposed to be good under Weeks last year. And now you're under Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin never has good defense. So I have Notre Dame moving on. So your semifinals are Oregon versus Notre Dame and Ohio State versus Georgia. Let's start off with Oregon versus Notre Dame. I like both of these teams. I will say Notre Dame is replacing a lot on the ground, and Oregon has a great running game. I think Oregon is better in the trenches. I think Oregon wins to advance to the national championship. Ohio State versus Georgia. This is definitely a tough matchup, but Ohio State and the Big Ten is so much better than the SEC. I think Ohio State moves on to the national title. So Oregon, Ohio State, this kind of budding up-and-coming rivalry is your national championship. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know who's going to win this game. And honestly, I want you guys to let me know down in the comments. Who do you think would win a national championship this year? Oregon or the Buckeyes? But again, that's all I have for you guys today. I will try to release a video tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my top 10 Buckeye teams of all time. I got Juck on Bucks to help me out with that one. Gave me some good info. And I'll be excited to release that tomorrow. If you have not subscribed, please do. We're trying to get to 300 before summer. Also, if you enjoyed today's show, please hit the like button. And let me know how you think this bracket would go. Let me know who you think is going to win the national championship. And between Ohio State and Oregon, who do you think would win? As Ohio State and Oregon will play for the third time in 1 year. But again, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And I will see you guys all tomorrow for my top 10 Buckeye teams of all time. But again, that's all I have for you guys right now. I will see you guys all tomorrow. And as always, thank you.